Happy Valentine's Day, everyone. I know this is exactly where you want to be. It has been a long time since I've done one of these. I used to do Q&A videos or streams quite a bit a couple years back, but eventually I kind of just got burnt out and decided to stop. I wanted to try them up again because I still very much enjoy doing this kind of thing, but with some changes to avoid prior issues, which I'll explain before we get into anything. First of all, that thing we did where I try to answer at least one question from everyone, that barely worked before. It's definitely not going to work now. And in order to naturally narrow things down, I think I'll be turning more towards my Discord server for questions rather than my YouTube comments. I got questions from some of my mods for this video and would probably stick with Discord members in general if I decide to keep going with this. Basically what I'm saying is don't ask questions in this comment section expecting that they could get into a video, because at least for now, that's not how this is gonna work. If I do decide to use YouTube, I'll probably make a community post for it when the time comes, but we'll see. Other than that, I don't really know how else I would narrow things down further. I just know it would have to happen, it's something I would need to keep experimenting with. But I am hoping that these new Q&A videos would be more focused and more elaborate thanks to the fewer questions. You can click the link in the description if you want to join the Discord. I don't know how often I would do these videos if I decide to keep going, but it's down there if you want it. And that's it, so without further ado, let's answer some questions. What Death Battle matchup announcement got you the most hyped, aside from Stitch vs. Rocket and Galactus vs. Unicron? Those were some reactions, weren't they? The most recent answer would have to be Vader vs. Obito. That matchup was a contender for my new 10th most wanted after Stitch vs. Rocket happened, and for it to happen immediately after was absolutely insane. In terms of all time though, I've been hyped for a lot of announcements obviously, but the one that really comes to mind is Goku Black vs. Reverse Flash. I was getting a lot more interested in that matchup around that time. I'd known Reverse Flash forever, and Goku Black was appealing to me too, so getting announced as I was so invested in the idea was so perfect and so exciting. It also helps that I think villain fights can be so much fun with good writing, and this episode became one of my all-time favorites partially for that reason. It surpassed the already insane hype I had for it, so needless to say, I was happy. If you could have any superpower from any comic book character, what would it be? For a long time, the answer would have been Nightcrawler's teleportation. Part of the reason why I liked him so much is because I thought he had such a cool looking power that would be super useful and fun. Nowadays, I tend to lean more towards super speed, specifically the Flash's super speed, since the Speed Force allows him to do it safely. Unless you count extra Speed Force attributes as more than one power, in which case just having the speed of the Flash would be detrimental in the real world. So that would be my most honest answer, but if you want something a little less problematic, I would probably say Superman's super strength, because if we are factoring in real world physics, that would also give me a durability boost, which would be nice. I could go down so many rabbit holes with this, my god. If you got the opportunity to write a death battle, what matchup would you choose and what directions would you take? Part of me wants to say a matchup like Bill versus Discord that would go absolutely insane, like Sackboy versus Maxwell or Q versus Mixie, but I think it'd be smarter to choose something that otherwise would have no chance of happening, which means I'd probably choose Dark Willow versus White Violin. I've thought about how this episode could look for a long time. I definitely want to give it a Beerus versus Galaxia vibe, just lean heavy into the destruction and insane feat side of things, but also focus on the emotional aspects of the characters, their bad and good states, their significance within their stories and major arcs. Combining these polar opposite themes together would hammer home how these crazy evil forces are also people that you can sympathize with under that surface. And I'd love that, because that's part of what drew me towards them in the first place. What are your thoughts on where you are today and how you got there? If you mean in regards to this channel, I am very pleased with where this has gone. It's always been a small channel, obviously, but I'm doing what I enjoy. And I'm fortunate enough to have the following that I do with this supportive of an audience. Apparently I was nominated for a couple Death Battle awards or something. Like, that's fucking awesome. If you mean more in terms of my personal life, it's hard, because I am happy that I completed university and have started working and all that, but I also recognize that there is more to come. And I'm thankful for that, because I do want to get more out of life than I have right now, but I'm still content with what I've accomplished at this stage in life, if that makes any sense. Things could go so off the rails from what I'm expecting, which scares me, but I'm super grateful to have what I have, and I'm gonna try my best to make things even better. That's the best I can say. What would I need to do for you to watch the first little bit of My Little Pony with me? Okay, Okay, I'll be frank, Death Battle really has given me the most exposure to MLP. It never appealed to me that much when I was growing up. Now that I've gotten more information on the whole thing, I do think it has some very cool elements, but clearly not so much so that I would start it up from the beginning on my own. If you want me to watch a bit with you over Discord or whatever, I'll need a formal 2 weeks notice, a debunk of every anti-MLP video ever made, and a photo of a real-life Sonic rain boom. Yes, you must take it yourself. Nah, I'm just kidding. If people are good to watch it during our watch parties, I certainly wouldn't have a problem with that. Otherwise, we can make some time while I'm not editing a video. Or killing you all at Blazing 8s, I do that a lot too. So those are all the mods that submitted me a question, but I thought it'd be cool to end these Q&A videos with a question that I provide myself that I've seen a lot of people ask me over the internet in one way, shape, or form. And for this video, I've decided on the question, what are your preferred alts for Stitch and Rocket Raccoon? This is a very intriguing question, but not one that I've put a lot of thought into before. The problem is that Stitch versus Rocket is too perfect of a matchup to me, and because of that, every other possible opponent for them doesn't work as well. Like, I get the appeal in some cases, but the thematic nature is just not there in the same way. I think Stitch is a little easier here because to me there's only one other fight I could really see working for him, that being Stitch versus Crash Bandicoot. I have no idea what the debate looks like since I'm not up to date with Crash, but I think it is the next best choice for Stitch connections wise and could be a fun battle in its own way. As for Rocket, I don't think there's as much of an obvious second choice, but I'd probably go with Rocket versus Ratchet, whether or not Groot and Clank are also involved. Again, the connections here are good enough, and I think it provides an interesting fight dynamic on paper given their insane massive arsenals and how they differ. So those are my answers right now, but come on, nothing's gonna beat Stitch versus Rocket. It's too good. And that wraps up everything for the day. Thank you to the mods for your questions, and thank you all for watching. Again, the link to the Discord is in the description if you maybe want to participate in something like this. We'll see if I decide to keep this up and how exactly that all unfolds. If you've made it to this point, thank you. You guys are the best, and I'll see everyone in the next video. Peace out.